Kia ora, g'day, welcome back. Here with part of this paid reaction series of videos. Comedian Jimmy Carr apologises over wounded troop gag. Now, what little I know of Jimmy Carr, I have seen some of his stuff. He's a bit unhinged. He's quite funny. I think he's quite funny. So be interesting to Sky News, eh? Clearly, he's said something. Apologises over wounded troop gag. So I assume he said something, dare I say, derogatory towards troops. I mean, he's a comedian. That's how they make their living, by using, for the most part, profanity and some might say defaming people and or groups of people. So I don't know what people are expecting if they're attending a comedy club with comedians who are going to pull the piss out of people. So anyway, let's have a look.
It seems like a lot of fuss about a very small matter.
Jimmy Carr's thoughts on his friend Jonathan Ross's giant leap over the boundary of good taste last year. Now it's his turn to be the centre of the fuss because of this joke. Say what you like about these servicemen amputees from Iraq and Afghanistan, he said, but we're going to have an effing good Paralympic team in 2012.
Is that the joke? Surely there's more to it. Say what you like about these servicemen amputees from Iraq and Afghanistan, but we are going to have a trucking good Paralympic team in 2012. Jimmy Carr. That's like, it's not one of his greatest jokes, but it's funny. Like, well, to me as a soldier, and maybe hang on, let's maybe try to put some context in here. Maybe I wouldn't find this funny if I was an amputee, but I'd hazard a guess that I'd say even servicemen, say men, maybe not so much women, I don't know, but I'd say even servicemen who are amputees would probably have a bit of a chuckle at that, because they know it's just it's lighthearted fun. That's all it is. It's not Jimmy Carr trying to be a blanking, trying to be discriminatory against soldiers in general, and or particularly those that have been tragically and badly wounded. Anyway, that's my take. That seems like, if that's the joke, maybe there's more to the joke.
But is it funny? Well, ex-Colour Sergeant Albert Thompson, who lost a leg fighting in Iraq, thinks so, and says most squaddies would agree.
Us as ex-military and military guys, we appreciate jokes like that because it keeps us going. It keeps us. In fact, we come up with most of them ourselves. And
like, this is good to hear. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be two sides to this conversation, or this short 2.5-minute clip. But to hear this guy who is an actual amputee, like, to my point of what I was speaking about earlier, I'd like to think most people, soldiers, probably wouldn't care. I don't think there's anything to get overly upset about in regards to Jimmy Carr's joke, if that's all it was. But again, I'm speaking about that from the perspective of not being an amputee from Afghan or Iraq. So, you know, take what I say as like 2 F's of F all, basically. But here's a guy that is an amputee saying that sounds like he has no issue with it. And he's speaking, saying that he thinks most, what's the term, squaddies, most other troops, soldiers probably wouldn't have an issue with it either.
And I have used that line on more than one occasion myself as well, so I don't see a problem with it.
Albert, like every other seriously wounded soldier, marine and airman or woman, spent a long time here at Headley Court, the military's rehabilitation centre. In fact, Jimmy Carr has also visited the troops there. He wouldn't speak to us today, though, but in a statement said, "I'm sorry if anyone was offended, but that's the kind of comedy I do. If a silly joke draws attention to the plight of these servicemen, then so much the better. But that was not my intention."
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the start, he's a comedian. That's what he gets paid to do. That's what people pay to travel to go see him, to attend these I was going to say stadiums. I don't know if it's stadiums, but these venues whereby people pay money to listen to him tell jokes and pull the piss out of people, and or pull the piss out of organizations or groups of people. So I don't know why people would go and attend those things and or be offended at a comedian saying stuff like that. Like, that wasn't a nasty joke at all. If that's all this is kicked up about, if that's what has caused this fuss.
My intention was only to make people laugh. But the former commander of British forces in Afghanistan is not laughing.
I think Jimmy Carr has shown a degree of bad judgment in making that kind of joke at this particular time. We've got on an almost weekly basis, tragically, we have brave British soldiers coming home in body bags or indeed coming on stretchers, having lost limbs. And I think while that's going on, I think it's actually really bad taste to comment in the way he has.
Well, that's his individual view, right? And he's entitled to it. Fair enough. But you don't speak for the whole of the military, whoever that guy is, you know? So there would, I would bet, I would gamble that there would be the vast majority of soldiers that would have no issue with it, including amputee soldiers, versus those like that guy, Rupert, by the sounds of things, taking exception to it. Like the other guy spoke about, the amputee, who had no issue with it, said like humour is one of those things that soldiers use all the time. Taking the piss out of each other is something that soldiers do all the time, and or taking the mick out of somebody else who may not necessarily be a soldier at all is just part of what soldiers do. And if you don't do that, you learn to do it once you're in the military. So each to their own. That guy's got his opinion, but I don't know that, like I think Jimmy Carr said at the start of this, it just seems like it's been made into this big thing, which seems unnecessary. But anyway.
So with soldiers dying on an all too regular basis in Afghanistan and many more coming home with limbs missing, has Jimmy Carr, to keep the war theme going, shot himself in the foot?
The people who were going to get upset by that joke wouldn't have been at a Jimmy Carr concert. And that's where he did it. He did it for people who want to sit in the dark, laughing at things they shouldn't laugh at, where nobody can see them. Like we
I like the way he's described that. People who want to attend, sitting in the dark, laughing at things they shouldn't be laughing at or don't want to be seen to be laughing at, and having a good time. Yeah, like I don't know if I said it specifically, but I would imagine those that have an understanding of the type of humour or comedy that Jimmy Carr does, if it's not for them, then don't truck and attend. Like, go do something else. Go attend a knitting class or something. But you shouldn't be getting offended or upset at a comedian who that's how he makes his bread and butter or makes his money for doing what he does. Like, it's just, it's strange.
all do. We all send those dodgy text messages.
In truth, a tasteless joke is unlikely to deter Jimmy Carr's fans from going to see his shows, and squaddies are renowned for their black and intensely non-PC sense of humour. So this battle of good taste may well end in an uneasy truce very soon. David Bowden, Sky News.
An uneasy truce. There doesn't need to be a truce. Jimmy Carr's going to do what Jimmy Carr does, and that is tell jokes to make people laugh. People will either like it or they won't like it. And too bad. Whoever that person was on the side saying, you're not even that famous. Well, clearly he's more famous than whoever that twat was talking from the sidelines. Not able to walk the red carpet. Like, I don't watch a lot of Jimmy Carr's stuff. It's not something I go searching for, but it has popped up on my feed from time to time. And I have watched some of it. And I've had a good laugh at a lot of his stuff. But it's not, I don't go actively searching up comedy people, if that makes sense. Like, for me, if I happen to see it and I'm a bit bored, I think, oh, what's this about? Have a listen and a watch and have a laugh. I don't see anything wrong with that particular joke that Jimmy Carr has made there in that regard. But again, acknowledging I'm not an amputee. Well, not an amputee yet. Hopefully I never am. But I'm also not an amputee from conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq and that sort of thing. But to the comments that was said here, like, Jimmy Carr's not trying to make light of or pull the piss out of soldiers who have tragically lost their lives in combat. Like, that's not what he's done. Would I put it past him to make a joke about something like that? No, I wouldn't, personally. I think he'll test the boundaries of any area. This is what I think, based on my observation of Jimmy Carr. And that's his prerogative. Like, that's what comedians will do. Test the boundaries, see where their audience lands, see if they get any oohs and ahs or laughter or silence. And that's part of their craft as a comedian, right or wrong. It is what it is. So, yeah, I think a mountain's been made out of a mole here with regards to this one. But appreciate you sending it through. That took me about 10 minutes to go through a little 2.5 minute video and give my take and reactions to it, factoring in what other people have said in that in here as well. So I'll see you on the next one.